Just a quick disclaimer as I get this video started. This will be a longer video, so make sure you guys grab your snacks, protein shake, dinner, blanket. Make sure you guys get all that stuff ready. This is going to be a longer one. This is going to be the last video of the series on the AT&T Analyst Day. So let's get right into it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And what you're seeing on screen is a map that I got from the AT&T Analyst Day. And this seems to be a fairly detailed map in regards to AT&T's footprint. This map is not to scale, but there's three parts to this map. So the dark blue is the 5G wireless coverage. The baby blue is the fiber build, where they have fiber today and where they will have more fiber in the future. And then the last one is covered by satellite, which is still a fairly small part of the map. Everybody's making all this fuss and AST this, AST that, but if you're looking at it, they only plan to cover a small portion of the US with satellite. Now, again, this map is not to scale, so that area that you're seeing on the screen is likely bigger in actuality, but it's still relatively small comparing that to the entire United States. So I wanted to be a bit more detailed in this video. So AT&T is investing $22 billion over the next 3 years. And I've been told, again, I know this from my internal sources, there is no public document on this, but I've been told the CapEx split at AT&T is 60-40. 60% going to fiber, 40% going to wireless. I've also heard internally that in the outer years, the 27, 2028, 2029, to close out the decade, that split is apparently going 80-20, 80% fiber, 20% wireless. That means they want to finish out the decade strong on the fiber build. They want to put a massive amount of fiber in the ground. They already have a massive asset in the fiber, right? It's already large today. If they never build another ounce of fiber, another inch, they have a large fiber footprint today. But that footprint, come 2029, is going to be just that much bigger. And that unlocks the huge success for the company moving forward. And let me elaborate on that. I know there's a lot of you that are wireless enthusiasts, tech enthusiasts, and you want AT&T to invest more in the wireless side. And we've been wanting that for a few years now. A lot of you have been looking for further densification. Some of you want more C-RAN. Some of you need more sites. And that's understood. And that's definitely understandable. But what's taking priority currently, or has been taking priority for some time now, is clearly fiber. That's been a large part of the business and the driver for huge capital investment, hiring contractors to trench fiber and all of that. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes investment, and it takes a lot of patience. So now, what is this fiber build going to unlock in terms of success, and how could the wireless consumer benefit from this? That's why I wanted to pull up this map so you guys can see where AT&T is building fiber and how that could potentially make the wireless network better. So I want to point you guys in the convergence direction, right? That's the next big success story for AT&T. They're not going to shy away from it. They're not going to change course. They're going all in on convergence. Today, as it stands, they're right around 39, 40% on the convergence, meaning out of every 10 fiber customers, 4 of them choose wireless. As they further penetrate the United States with fiber, new markets, and then they grow and scale inside of those markets, that 40% will very quickly increase to 50%. So now that means out of every 10 fiber customers that join AT&T, 5 of them will choose wireless. So what does that mean? Even if AT&T is not directly looking to grow wireless share in those markets, they're indirectly, while using the fiber build, growing wireless. And that's why the convergence piece is so important. So they're very quietly growing wireless share in the market as they continue building fiber. So what does that mean? So while AT&T is investing fiber, heavily invested in fiber, they're going to have to turn around in those markets. They're going to have to invest back into the wireless network to further densify because of the fiber growth. And that's why I use the words direct and indirect, because they're not directly wanting to grow. Of course, they want the wireless market share to grow, but they're not directly looking for that. They're using the fiber piece, and then they converge, and that's how they're managing to successfully grow wireless share. And they're growing it that way more successfully than any other way before. And that's why a lot of non-fiber markets are likely going to suffer. In markets where AT&T has wireless, of course, they operate a nationwide network, they're not going to be as, how can I say, excuse me, I don't want to say motivated, but they're just not going to invest as much because, one, they don't have a lot of wireless share, and there's no other fiber or anything else that they're investing in. So they're not gonna be as they're not gonna put as much priority on those areas. And that's just me being honest. That's just what it is. They will never say that publicly. The AT&T, the senior level executives at this analyst day that they just had December 3rd, they will never say that publicly. Oh, yeah, we have markets where we don't have fiber. We're not going to invest in those much because we don't have a lot of share, right? There's just not a lot of positive momentum in those markets. In the markets that you see here that are in light blue, there's a lot of momentum in those markets. There's fiber going in the ground. There's lots of new customers joining the fiber network that are simultaneously joining the wireless network. 4 out of 10 likely to go to 5 out of 10, and that's an average. There's going to be some markets on this list that are maybe 6 or 7 out of 10. So AT&T will be forced to specifically reinvest into the wireless network, back into those markets where the convergence is really taking off. And AT&T is signaling to the market that this is really the next big thing in terms of competition and where business is going. It's convergence. And they're saying subtly, right? Stanky also said, I watched like several different interviews he had prior to the analyst day, and he said, look at my competitors. Look at Verizon. They're buying Frontier for a reason. They're just not buying Frontier for the fun of it. They're buying it for a reason. We're showing you the convergence works. If you're willing to invest, if you're committed, it will work. He is going by numbers. He's going by stats. He's not just pulling it out of a hat. Stanky, that is. They're going by stats. People want to do business with one company. They don't want to have to do auto pay and put their debit cards at several different companies. And AT&T says that 77% of customers want to do business with one company. They ran those statistics. Don't know where they got those numbers from, but that's what they have. And that's why I still think, and I want to throw this in briefly, I still think Randall Stevenson had sort of kind of the right idea. Yeah, the media failed, but that's really the ultimate bundle. If you can put TV, internet, and wireless all on the same bill, I mean, imagine how much lower the churn could possibly go. The only issue with AT&T, they just didn't do it right, I feel. They were never really engaged in combining the billing, so you could never get it onto a bill, right? All the services onto one bill. And if you tried it, it was a disaster. It was a nightmare. So they never really invested much outside of actually acquiring DirecTV and Time Warner. But that's the history. That's the past. So what they're going to look at in the future, they're going to try to converge you with home internet and wireless. You're still going to have to get your TV from somewhere else, which I still think is an advantage that Dish could possibly have if they ever get off the ground. If they could do FWA, they have Sling, and then they have wireless. If they can get all three of that bundled, they could possibly have something, but we all know the situation that they're in. There is not one wireless carrier today, except I think Fios, that can offer you all three. I think Fios does TV, they do home broadband, and then Verizon can offer you wireless. And that's only within the Fios footprint. I don't know if and when Verizon gets the Frontier asset, I don't know if that will come with TV. It's possible. But I think that's the ultimate bundle. And that's what T-Mobile was trying to do that as well. If you guys remember T-Vision, they were trying to get you to bundle all the services. It's just a proven statistic. John Fryer recently said it too at the Wells Fargo Summit. He said the accounts that have multiple devices, be that FWA, tablets, smartwatches, the more you deepen the relationship, the lower the churn, the longer the customer. So it's proven. It's not just something that we're making up. So I stick by that. I think if a carrier can figure out how to get you TV, home broadband, and wireless all on one bill, I think that's the best possible customer that you can have from a CLV, low churn profile, all of that. I think that's the best possible way to do it. But it's hard, right? It's hard to have be able to offer all three and still operate a business, right? It was hard for AT&T to do that. Even I think at the peak, they were spending $24 billion. It was just too much. They had to spend billions on creating original content for HBO Max. They had to spend billions on getting DirecTV going. They had to spend billions on fiber. And then there wasn't much left for wireless. And they knew they needed spectrum. They knew they needed to invest into that business because it's their bread and butter. So they couldn't just let that rot, right? They got the FirstNet contract. So they knew they needed to make change, and they unloaded media. I think for that particular time, that was just the right move to make. They couldn't have made a better move and got the results that they're getting today in terms of the growth and everything else financially, right? I want to point that out. They're able to do dividend and now buybacks. They announced that at the Analyst Day. Still have $50 billion for flexible spend, while still investing $22 billion annually. That is a insane financial portfolio, if you ask me. T-Mobile couldn't do that. They could not raise their capex to $22 billion today and still have flexible spend and still do buybacks and dividend. They could not do that. Verizon could, but it would probably be something they would have to, signal to the market first. But Verizon is comfortable with what they're spending on the network. They could spend more. They did spend more, but they're lowering that, which, some shareholders might like. But yes, that's why I wanted to bring up this map in this final video, so you guys can get a visual for those of you who may have not seen it. So you can see, okay, how extensive and at scale the AT&T fiber is. And as they continue, right, 2029 and beyond, they're going to continue deploying the fiber. They're not going to stop. It's just too much of a success for the company. You bring fiber to the house, you get wireless every time. I would not be surprised if we get the convergence to 60-70% at some point in the future. And they even stated it at the analyst day. I've listened to all of them talk, and they said, if we can't converge the customer, then what are we doing? If they're getting fiber, how come they didn't get wireless? And if they're getting wireless and they're at a house that has fiber, then how come they're not getting fiber? That's how confident AT&T is in that product or in the products. They feel they have the good enough wireless network, and they're getting ready to invest. Although, right, some are going to consider cost cutting, but they're getting ready to invest into small cell radios, C-band, which are needed. As I stated, even at the 4 out of 10, they are still growing wireless share in fiber markets, and they're growing it quite rapidly. So they're going to have to densify the network. They have no choice. El Paso, you guys see that on the list. Dallas, Houston, wherever there's fiber in the state of California, where they're growing fiber, they're going to have to invest into the wireless network. So that's the good news for the wireless side, right? The markets where they don't have fiber today, that's going to be a tough call to make, man. I just don't know how they can justify spending like a ton of money. And in those markets where they don't have fiber, what's really drawing people to AT&T today? Right? AT&T said that they're going after Hispanic markets. They really want to get busy in the mid-sized markets. El Paso is a mid-sized market. It's a Hispanic market as well, but they have fiber here. So as we grow the community, as more neighborhoods get built, AT&T fiber is first. So guess what? They're growing wireless share tremendously in this market. I've been in contact with a very credible source since 2016. The amount of work that AT&T has done to grow the share in this market on the wireless side is great. It's nowhere near perfect or leading, but they're able to invest into the wireless network, densification, C-RAN now, right? And if they're at the 22, 23% market share and they continue to grow that, one day they might get to 25. One day they might get to 30%. All because of fiber. That's what it is. They're doing it because of fiber. So I just want to close out the video on the markets where they don't have fiber. I think that's going to be a concern for some people. It's going to be a concern. And maybe in those markets, they already have very high share. It's possible that they just naturally have to continue to invest in the wireless network because they have high share. Or usage is just through the roof. We got reports earlier today that Apple, with their new chipset, their new cellular modem, they're going to put it in everything. So we're going to have MacBooks that are going to need cellular connection. We're going to have the Vision Pro on a cellular modem. We already have the tablets, the iPads, everything. the whatever they're going to call their smart glasses, everything is going to the wireless network. So that's going to create insane amounts of demand in the future. So just on that, AT&T might have to continue to invest in those markets. But the markets that are struggling, that have been struggling, there's a market that I was made aware of in New Jersey that AT&T has like 11% share. They haven't added a single site since like 2000s. And they don't plan to add anything because they're not growing the share. Right? They go 11, 12%, 12.5%, then they go back down to 11. It's just not feasible for AT&T to invest in those markets. Now, if they were smart, they would say, hey, look, we're going to invest a little bit so we can grow the capacity, and then we will try to grow the market, the wireless share. But they haven't been able to do that effectively in any of the markets. Unless they have fiber in those areas, they really don't move the needle. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope this was fairly detailed for you guys, so you guys have a better understanding of where AT&T is going. Again, a 60-40 split on the CapEx in the future, in the outer years, as the Nokia to Ericsson conversions kind of ramp down and they finish that off. It's expected to go to 80-20, and they want to finish out the decade very strong on fiber. Each and every market that they can get to with fiber, they grow wireless. The convergence is a big deal. It's at 40%. They're looking to get that to 50% and plus. So it's just a winning, successful strategy for AT&T. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.